All right, so let's tune into Fox and Friends as we like to do, at least hopefully almost every day. We like to do it. Sometimes I like to do it twice because this is the way that, probably the president wakes up every morning, lies in bed, sits there.
This is the way the baby bird gets fed.
Exactly. And here's Fox and Friends this morning. Trying to figure out what are we going to say about this impeachment.
As we have been doing on the show for over 20 years, let's put the shoe on the other foot. If a Democrat president did what happened last week, a week ago today, would the Republicans in the House and the Senate move to impeach him if they could? The answer is yes.
Well, the answer is always yes. Democrats will always go against President Trump, and you had no problem with President Trump up until this week. So what happened?
What you'll hear a lot of conservatives say, though, the ones who are still pro-Trump, don't forget about all.
Okay, let's not blow by this.
Wait, we know what happened. What do you mean, what happened?
No, Kilmeade is asking Doocy, like, dude, what are you doing? This is a little bit of a personal squabble between these two.
I thought that was more like theoretical for Republicans.
Oh, no. I think this is. Let's go back. Let's play this again. I think this is Doocy and Kilmeade breaking up a little bit.
As we have been doing on the show for over 20 years, let's put the shoe on the other foot. If a Democrat president did what happened last week, a week ago today,
he had to go back and say Democrat as opposed to Democratic,
right?
Because he didn't follow the style guide for Fox News.
Frank Lund's talking points. He just spoke colloquially as opposed to strategically for propaganda purposes. He's
got to make his point. He's going out on a limb. He's got to make sure he says the rat party. But go ahead.
On the other foot, if a Democrat president did what happened last week, a week ago today, would the Republicans in the House and the Senate move to impeach him if they could? The answer is yes.
Well, the answer is always yes. Democrats will always go against President Trump, and you had no problem with President Trump up until this week. So what happened?
What you'll hear a lot of conservatives say, though, the ones who are still pro-Trump, don't forget about all the good things that he did. The policy, the immigration, the economy,
as we
what
said
he did for peace in the Middle East.
Brian, what happened last week was the riot and the looting of the U.S. Capitol.
There were so many things that have happened, including the first impeachment, the second, the phone call, this and that. Yeah. There's both sides to this issue, and the bottom line is, in 5-6 days is another president. There is so much to do in the middle of a pandemic. How does it help to impeach someone who's going to be at his resort? It makes no sense. Who is leaving anyway? So a guy's packed, he's walking out of the house, and you go, okay, you're fired. Okay, I've left. How does that help?
I think the members of Congress just want some accountability.
Karl Rove said,
censure doesn't work.
Rove said even if he's not impeached, he believes this could give the people who don't like his style an opportunity to separate the party from him.
And you could separate all his supporters from the party.
Correct.
Who didn't march who don't march, work 100 hours a week, who say, I'm really proud to have voted for him, disappointed how he acted, but now Mitch McConnell's telling them to go jump in a lake.
That's why.
Yeah, okay, so more than half of Republicans in every poll I've seen think that there was some sort of election stealing that happened. So this is exactly just because every single one of those tens of millions of people didn't show up at the Capitol doesn't mean that they don't exist and doesn't mean that there doesn't need to be a signal set. But like, listen to what Kilmeade said there, because Kevin McCarthy went to Nancy Pelosi, the leader of the Republicans in the House, and said, well, could we do a censor instead? Like, this is how politically toxic Trump is right now. Kilmeade is settling, and Kevin McCarthy are settling for a censor of Donald Trump. That's the bare minimum that Republicans want right now, because impeachment would be such a popular and such the right thing to do, just morally and politically. But that's where he got that from.
What's the
censure? So they're calling for that because that's like exactly how bad this is. Is just what I'm saying.
The censure in and of itself, calling for a censure, essentially concedes the value of impeachment.
Exactly.
Because if the guy's walking out the door, what difference does a censure do? Well, because it notes in the record that the behavior was inappropriate. And then the question becomes, well, how inappropriate? Like, what if you think a censure is okay, what would it take to reach the bar of impeachment? Is it impossible? If Nancy Pelosi had been murdered, if Mike Pence had been hung, would that have been high enough for impeachment?
Both sides.
I mean, because if the question is that you don't impeach because he's leaving, then you're saying that nothing could have taken place on that day.
He could have shot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and gotten away with it, potentially? Is that kind of what you're saying?
I mean, that seems to be the argument. If the argument is it's about the amount of time.
They are conceding he did something wrong. And if Kilmeade and McCarthy are even like, please, or McCarthy's like, please, Pelosi, please, we'll make a compromise position. You just censor him. That should tell everybody impeachment is the exact right thing that needs to happen right now.
But Kilmeade's just a little testy, I think, with Doocy. And I don't know. Doocy's going to be joining this show soon. I think it's just a matter of time.
Welcome to the resistance, Mitch McConnell and Steve Doocy, obviously.
So meantime, there's a couple of things that are happening as people walk out the door. On one hand, impeachment. Why would you do that? He's leaving the building. On the other hand, Mike Pompeo has canceled his trip to Europe because the Europeans have basically said, we're not going to meet with Mike Pompeo.
Luxembourg said, you're not good enough for us.
We'll wait.
That tiny country.
We'll wait for the next guy.
Yeah.
Pass.